National Assembly passes 28.7 trillion naira 2024 appropriation bill into law. House members express mixed feelings following passage of 2024 budget. And on the committee segment, we take a look at rules and business. Compliments of the season, and thanks for joining us on You and Your Reps. I am Victor, as welcome. The National Assembly has passed the 2024 appropriation bill of 28.7 trillion naira during a special sitting of the bicameral legislature. Now, our National Assembly correspondents tell us that this is the first time the national budget is passed on a weekend.
This bill is now read for the third time and passed.
31 days after submission by the executive, the 2024 appropriation bill is now ready for presidential assent. The harmonized report from Senate Appropriation Committee was approved, which contained an additional 1.2 trillion naira.
The closely and harmonious appropriation process, the executive forwarded requests for additional funding and some item of expenditure to the committee, which were not included in the bill as submitted by the executive.
There was also adjustment on the exchange rate. It's now 800 naira to the dollar against the proposed 750 naira. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, reaffirmed commitments of the National Assembly to engender deliverance of good governance by working hand in hand with the executive.
Our work does not end here. We will continue to labor diligently to ensure that the bill is promptly transmitted to Mr. President for his immediate assent, enabling its implementation to commence on January 1st, 2024. I also wish to express my deep appreciation to my esteemed colleagues for your patience. This selfless service, I must say, exemplifies the sacrifices that the National Assembly consistently makes for the progress and development of our great nation.
Meanwhile, Senate has approved securitization of outstanding ways and means of 7.3 trillion naira. The medium-term expenditure framework 2022 to 2026 was also adjusted to reflect the changes in the 2024 budget, while the 2022 to 2024 external borrowing rolling plan was also approved. After the passage of the budget, the Senate made a pledge that it will ensure that MDAs, that is ministries, departments and agencies of government, implement the 2024 appropriation in line with the spirit and letters of the budget documents. I'll now hand you over to my colleague Mitare Ikpen, who is at the House of Representatives.
Right. Thank you, Lami. The House of Representatives equally passed the 2024 appropriation bill of 28.7 trillion naira, which was 1.2 trillion naira higher than the estimates the President presented to the House. I had opportunity to speak with the Chairman House Committee on Appropriation to provide further insight into the reasons for increase in the estimates.
We had a meeting with the GOEs. We believe that their submission is not enough, so that they have agreed to increase their revenues to 700 billion. So when we increase that, we are able to get that to 1.2 trillion, which we applied in capital.
The MDAs should not wait for the funds to be released. They should quickly swing into action as soon as the budget is signed by commencing the procurement planning. After the planning, they will now do adverts and then invite the contractors to tender bid documents.
After 1 month of scrutiny, the House at the Committee on Supply passed the appropriation bill of 28.7 trillion naira. The House also approved President Tinubu's request for securitization of 7.3 trillion naira ways and means. Being the last sitting of the House for the year, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, in closing remarks, says review of the Electoral Act 2022 will be priority in the new year.
On strengthening it to deliver more free and fair elections and reduce the judiciary's influence on the electoral processes.
The House adopted a motion to investigate the Christmas Eve killings in Plateau State.
To provide aerial surveillance and support to flush out criminal hideouts.
I am tired of standing every day to observe 1 minute silence. The lives of Nigerians should begin to matter to us.
Meanwhile, passage of the 2024 budget has left members with mixed feelings. While some are in high spirits, others are cautiously optimistic.
The budget has actually answered its name as coined by the executive, the budget of Renew Hope. You will see that the budget came with a lot of firsts in many aspects. One, for the first time, we're having a capital vote that is almost 10 trillion naira. That's the first of its kind. And if you compare it to the recurrent, you have shared that for the first time also, we're having a capital vote that is higher than the recurrent expenditure. If you look at parameters like the debt servicing, for the first time also we're having the percentage in terms of debt service to revenue generation coming down. So I think is a major leap, and as rightly themed, is actually a budget of Renew Hope. We're likely going to see plenty the construction works in the road in terms of road infrastructure and other aspects of our economy. And I think we all believe that between economic development and infrastructure, there is a strong nexus. So by the time all this are made readily available, you will see that it will have impact on even the revenue base of the country. So we are very hopeful that there is an inspiration that came along with the passage of the budget, and more so, if you look at it in terms of our drive at diversification, I think even the agricultural sector was given its due attention. We expected lots of activities in the agricultural sector. The food security drive will also will come into reality very, very soon because of the things that we'll be able to do with the budget. We're expecting lots of dams to be constructed. There will be irrigation canals everywhere. And once you are able to put these things in place, you will have succeeded in preparing the agricultural sector for revolution. And once you have the agricultural sector doing wonderfully well, the complement will be industrialization. And I think the government has set out an objective to ensure that the country is industrialized.
We're currently in a situation of turmoil in this country, a situation where we're in dire need of leadership. And we have the faith in our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that he would do well. But at the same time, based on the level of decay that we have right now, we know it will take a lot of effort. It will take, everybody, all hands will have to be on deck to make things work for this country. So we're very excited about an opportunity to rewrite our story as Nigerians through the budget. But until we start the implementation of this 2024 budget, I still remain very cautiously optimistic. And the reasons are not far-fetched. I have a major concern with where we have pegged the dollar. Initially, we were told that by December, the budget, the naira to dollar rate would be about 750 naira. That has not happened. And most of these things, it's the economics. If you look at what the projections say and where we are right now, and if we cannot meet that, it means we'll always be running at a deficit. So that's why, for me, I want us to have a very realistic budget, a budget that would work for Nigeria and Nigerians, a budget that people would see and people would say, well, this budget, if well implemented, we should get results so we can move this country forward. As a member of the legislature, I think what our duties are here is, number one, oversight. When we are carrying out our role, our constitutional role of having to visit projects, having to ensure whatever we say we want to do is done, I think we will start that process of accountability in this country. We have to hold the executive accountable for what is in the budget and what we have also reviewed and we have all collectively passed. So that's one very important part of it. And if the legislature can do our oversight duties properly, effectively and efficiently, I think Nigerians will be better off for it. So that's very important. Number two is laws, the enabling environment for these, that the legislature creates the enabling environment by having laws that can work for this nation. So, for example, if we see that there's a loophole somewhere that we can cover, or there's a drain somewhere that we can cover, we can always enact laws that would help take care of things like that, so we can cover these loopholes that we have and make our countries better. The laws are supposed to be for us. So, and it's supposed to be for Nigeria. It's supposed to make Nigeria better. So we have a constitutional role to ensure that the laws we have in this nation work for Nigerians. And secondly, we have to do a lot of work having to oversight most of these projects and the things that the executive say they want to do in 2024. So I think we'll hold them accountable. We're very resolute about making this country work, and you can see I want to give kudos to the Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. He has really been very helpful in this regard, and he has also told us he's going to create the enabling environment for us as well to be able to go out there and do our jobs as members of the House of Representatives. So 2024 is looking good. I am just cautiously optimistic about where we have pegged the dollar to naira rate, and I'm also very cautiously optimistic about our production, because we are still heavily reliant on oil. This is an oil-based economy. You know, I want us to drive this economy by going towards the non-oil revenue. If we can tap into that, we have all sorts of mineral resources everywhere in this country. If we can tap into that, we can diversify our economy. We can earn more foreign exchange. When we earn more foreign exchange, the naira to dollar rate would reduce, and that's just how to do it. But I think we're dragging our feet. But I believe, hopefully, in 2024, it will be a better year for all of us. Let's be very prayerful. Let's be very hopeful. And let's conserve our resources. This is not the time for us to waste things. Whatever we have, the resources we have to be able to manage these resources in a way that it is judiciously utilized. It's not a time for us to be extravagant as a country. It's not a time for us to take 1,020,000 foreign trips. It's not a time for us to get very expensive cars to do our jobs. It's not a time for us to spend money lavishly that we do not have. It's a time for all of us to sit down, think about those things that are very important. Let's improve our healthcare system. Let's improve our education. Let's improve our road system, road network. And I think these are the things that would create that enabling environment for growth in this country. So I think, you know, the time has come where people are really looking forward to a better year, and we're just hopeful that this year really is better. But at the same time, I want us to have a very realistic budget, and let's not build castles in the air.
The House of Representatives, nay, National Assembly, works through committees, but there is an occasional committee which involves both chambers. What is it set up to achieve? Well, Chair of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Waiver, will tell us about Conference Committee.
Every bill, for it to become law, must be passed by both chambers. But many times when they are passed by both chambers, there are some variations, some differences here and there. You take the PIB as it then was, for example, Petroleum Industry Bill. Whereas one house was passing 3% on a particular issue, another house was passing 5% for a particular issue. So when you get to such a stage, you set up a conference committee. A number of representatives who come from the House and then a number from the Senate. So they meet as a conference and they look at both versions. They don't introduce anything new. They take the clauses where there are variations, and they decide to accept either the one of the House or the one of the Senate. They don't introduce anything new. Conference committee has no right to introduce anything new. So they look at both, and they say in item 1, the House said this, the Senate said this. We prefer to go with the Senate. In item 2, we prefer to go with the House. They do that for areas where there are conflict. That's the conference committee. So they come up with their report and say this is what they have reached. And then it's sent for assent of the president.
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment examines rules and business. It is one of the few committees without oversight functions, yet one that is critical to the functioning of the Green Chamber.
The mandate of this committee that I chair in the 10th House of Representatives, which is the Committee on Rules and Business, is to see to the preparation of the order paper for every day's legislative business. That order paper states the order in which things will be done on that legislative day on the floor of the House. In a layman term, it's the agenda for the day, but much more than just the agenda, opening prayer and all that. You're now going to looking at the bills and motions that you are going to list for that day. And members would present their proposed bills first to Mr. Speaker for him to read through and look at the sense of direction, and then he ministers it to the Chairman of Rules and Business. When it gets here, we look deeper into the matter to ensure that it's a matter of national importance. It's a matter that promotes peace, unity, and good governance in our country. It's not a divisive matter. It's not a controversial matter. And then we look at how it is prepared, that it is well written, the grammar, such that the image of the House is protected. And then we also look at the prayers particularly. What's this person asking for? So sometimes we've had to call honorable members to discuss their bills or motions and fine-tune them again. And so that's a tough work for us. As we speak, we currently have about 700 that we're reading through. I'm talking on motions alone and trying to cross the T's and dot the I's and look at the ones that are, and then every day you now have to select. The rules, the standing orders of the House, 9.3 gives the Committee on Rules and Business that privilege to list bills and motions that will be discussed on the floor on a particular day. My experience has been varied. I've enjoyed it because I've learned a lot. I've had the privilege of meeting Nigerians from all over the country. So I've met every kind of tribe, religion, character, and it's beautiful relating with them, I must say. And we are very intelligent, very humorous members in the 10th Assembly. The challenge is that sometimes they are pushful, and particularly the new ones, they want to be heard every day. And you have to find a way to manage that. And then the volume they shown out has been very challenging when you talk about trying to read through all of this. Good enough, we have got good secretarial staff who are very experienced and they do good assistance. I've got a good deputy, and members of the committee too have been willing to help, and that has been good. We are hoping that as committee work progresses, now we are doing budget defenses, so oversight will begin very shortly. I believe that as oversight begins, the emphasis on speaking at plenary would drop a little bit and help us. But so far so good, we've been doing well. We have had over 1,000 bills passed through first reading and less than 100 gone through second reading, because at the second reading level we scrutinized a lot. And then we have up to over 40 gone through third reading, and about 20 or so passed and gone their way to the Senate for concurrence. Within 6 months, I think we've done a good work. As you are going to the finishing stage of a bill, it becomes more tedious because you want to be more thorough. And we do not want a situation where a bill gets to Mr. President and it comes back for avoidable reasons. Very exciting new bills that are coming up. For instance, our country has been running on the 1956 Audit Act ordinance, but now the House of Representatives have passed a new Audit Act, brand new for our country. For the first time in the history of our country, the Senate would give us the concurrence, God willing, in the new year. So that's one of the blessings the 10th Assembly will be leaving for our country. But much more than that, we have found a group of people here who are very enthusiastic, very optimistic, very nationalistic. You just need to interact with our members to know that going forward, we're going to see things done differently. And Mr. Speaker has emphasized that our oversight going forward must be more effective, very thorough, and result-oriented.
And this is where we leave it on You and Your Reps, the first episode in 2024. We thank you for watching. I am Victor, as we're wishing you a fantastic new year.